killer!
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here, coming at you live.
I'm gonna punch you in the dick through the internet. Okay, guys. So as you can see, Rocker's over here stealing my lines. All right. So it is movie night.
Whose line is it anyway?
Mine, always mine. So we got, as you can see, we
Wait a
got
minute,
Rocker,
wait a minute.
Carter. We also have Walker and Hatless, guys. So we are doing
Things you can say to your dog, but not your girlfriend.
Stop it.
Come.
Stop it. Anyway, we are doing top female SCP objects. This is by Detective Void. I actually like this guy's stuff. He's one of those SCP animation channels. This guy's awesome. All right, but we're not doing the whole thing because, as you can see here, this video is over 4 hours long. That's a little much. That's a little much. That's not movie night.
Take it or leave it.
Anyway, let's get 7. I'm just kidding. Remember Patrick haggling. Anyway, let's get started and go. Warning, blah, 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 blah.
If you're easily squeamish,
Yeah, if you're easily squeamish, look away, children. Look away!
hide your virgin eyes.
It's the man
So any old
Then I wouldn't have
go
fallen
ahead.
into her hands. The Korean man ran straight through the forest with these
Korean
thoughts,
man. That
scared
does
to
not
death.
sound right.
The sun had not yet risen, but in the half-light of dawn, a silhouette could be seen moving behind him. The person's clothing was dirty on one side of his body. It was in fact his own blood from a wound
I was
on
gonna
his
say, that's
shoulder.
not dirty, dude,
The
that's
man
blood.
had been shot by his partner, who is now dead. The man stumbled yet again and rolled
That
head
wasn't a
over
stumble,
heels
that was
on
a
the
full-on
ground,
roll,
raking
dude.
the leaves
Pretty
with his breath.
impressive.
This fall ended up giving him a few minutes head start. He sat up and stared in horror at something among the trees. The man started
Something
to crawl
among us.
backwards and almost fell into a wolf
Very
pit.
soft.
His brain worked frantically trying to save its owner. The man was lucky enough to lure his pursuer into a trap, and he remained alive. But he didn't stop running. When he reached the river, the man was so exhausted that he couldn't even swim. The current knocked him off his feet, threw him headfirst into the rocks, and dragged him about half a mile.
Ow.
Once again going headfirst
Damn. Just
underwater, the
ow.
man glanced at the shore. A few hundred meters from him stood an incredibly beautiful Asian woman. She was wearing only a semi-transparent dress that barely concealed her
Pause.
perfect figure.
Pause.
When he saw the
Swim away.
beauty, the man wanted to scream, but the river wouldn't let him. When the sun rose, the fugitive had reached his camp. He climbed into the back of the van parked there and took out a flamethrower. The man had just
Dude.
managed to brace himself against the
It's
side of the van.
pyros.
It's
flicking
wait
his
a
fingers
minute,
as the came out of the
whoa, let's
forest.
pause here.
Okay. Oh, speaking of pause, look at her.
I'm glad this guy comes prepared.
Yes, it
He
always.
goes to the back of his truck. He doesn't pull out a shotgun. He doesn't pull out a machine gun. Oh no. He pulls out a flamethrower.
He pulls
He's
out the
going-
TF2 pyro flamethrower of all things. This ain't Elon Musk's flamethrower. This is the pyro flamethrower. Okay.
He's about to go John Carpenter in that motherfucker.
So either he can flame it or he can use air blast to get it away. So,
Fucking
all right, let's keep going.
reflect something.
Reflect.
Instead of legs, the girl had paws covered with red fur. She burst out laughing, exposing thin, sharp fangs. Then she got down on all fours and quickly ran towards the man. He met her with a torrent of fire. At this point, Mobile Containment Task Force Theta 3, Scylla daggers arrived. They captured the anomalous entity, and the surviving agent was taken to the hospital. This was the first capture of SCP-953, which took place in the middle of the 20th century. The creature is known as the polymorphic humanoid because of her ability to shapeshift. But in Korean mythology, this beast has long been known by the name of
It's a
Kumiho,
kitsune.
or the nine-tailed fox.
No, it's not.
SCP-953
Wait a minute.
No.
belongs to the Keter class.
No, she actually gets pissed if you call her a kitsune
Okay.
because
Yeah, I remember that.
she's not Japanese. She's Korean, so it's called something.
Korean, okay.
And in her
okay.
usual
Wish to
state,
poop the
she
soup.
looks like a red fox, weighing
Yeah,
about
well,
8
lose your
kilograms. The only difference is that she has 9 tails. The object is able to transform into other living beings, and most often she chooses the image of an attractive Korean woman. Despite the transformation, the polymorphic humanoid's new appearance still has some animal features, such as fangs, tails, fur, ears, and so on. She's
Honestly,
well
I ain't
aware
even
of
mad.
these shortcomings of her appearance, and she tries to hide them. Sometimes
So basically, she can transform, but she sucks at it.
Yes.
Well,
She's like a retarded ditto.
God damn. Was not expecting that.
She manages to fool people this way. But dogs always smell the anomalous fox girl's
Good
odor
doggy.
and react to her aggressively.
That's a
The
fox.
influence on people is also explained by her abilities of telepathy and suggestion. These qualities are not too strongly developed in the fox, but together with her attractiveness and cunning behavior, they're more than enough to control men.
Oh my God.
The
Dude,
object thus hides
you
her
deserve
anomaly
to die,
from the
you prick.
hypnotized.
Yeah,
These
come on,
properties
kill him,
also
kill
help
him,
to lure
kill
the
him,
victims
kill
into
him.
her lair and mock them. The fox has a special talent for this.
Yeah. Lures them into their lair and mocks them. Joke's on you, I'm into that shit.
Joke's on you. I'm into
Now-
that shit.
now-
Goodbye.
I'm not a furry, but
But,
But
sure, I'm flattered, maybe even a little curious.
As she's an exceptionally spiteful creature.
Aren't all women?
SCP-953 kills her victims by immobilizing
What?
them with a blow to the stomach.
Ow.
Then she tears or gnaws through the body and pulls out the liver. The fox
No,
eats
it-
the organ,
no.
swallowing it
Oh,
whole.
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Pause it. Pause it.
I'm
Pause it.
trying to picture her trying to do that to Devil Man.
I was
And-
about to say that.
she
Do
would
you know how hammered she would get?
Gary.
No, she'd
And da-
die.
and I gu- and I
She would
guarantee-
die.
And I guarantee you, Devil Man will be completely fine. 'Cause
She
he
would
is-
die.
his liver has been
Okay.
his liver has
The
been
guy-
non-functional for decades.
No, the guy was literally drinking hydrogen peroxide. Straight up. Like,
Well,
just
dude.
straight up drinking it. And the medic was just like, put your head in these hydrogen peroxide.
Sure.
Bold of you to assume he has a liver at all.
That's
Exactly.
true. Nobody converted it into a distillery.
No, he
Off his
converted
stomach.
his stomach into a distillery
Oh, his
and his
stomach.
lungs.
And
Possibly,
his lungs.
possibly his entire chest cavity, actually. But
here's the thing.
Jeez.
If she were to eat it, she would die within 5 minutes of blood alcohol poisoning.
dude, I
5
guarantee you,
minutes?
Yeah.
5
5
minutes.
minutes?
Seconds.
No, 5 seconds.
A bite would be enough to take her out. Forget
Literally.
eat the whole thing. Okay, let's keep going.
A snake.
Okay.
This is, so to speak, an express murder scheme. If the object is in safety and has enough time, then she always tortures her victim. They're psychologically taunted and then filleted alive. The fox
Jesus
also likes it
Christ.
when the future victim sees the agony of the previous one. The creature identifies as a kumiho. She becomes enraged if she's called a kitsune,
See?
which designates a common
Well-
fox or a werewolf fox in Asian folklore. To prevent the
Cope,
staff from
cope,
provoking the
beat,
object
maul,
once again,
stay mad.
they're ordered to call SCP-953 only by the name Kumiho. To prevent anyone from asking stupid questions, one of the members of the O5 Council left a small note. He asked whether there was a need to explain the difference between a Cherokee Indian and a New Delhi Indian. Nine-tailed fox demons
Damn.
are one of the central
You know,
characters in Asian
fair enough.
mythology.
That can actually that's actually no. Then you can understand her upset. You know, you
Yeah.
can understand her being upset by that. You know, that's like
Yeah.
you know that's just racially insensitive. Really, you think about it.
And considering the fact that I'm Apache Indian, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Even so, the Foundation
Oh,
first
yeah.
encountered the object in Korea after the end of World War II. Operatives from the 5th Squad Eastern Division were sent on a mission to Busan. After some
Jesus.
reorganization within the
Nice
Foundation,
flip.
the team received the name Mobile Containment Task Force Scylla Daggers. Only one of the 3 agents survived. He recounted the chilling details of his colleagues' deaths. The soldiers came upon a beautiful girl combing her hair at a waterfall. All 3 were of Asian descent and had heard the legends of the nine-tailed fox since childhood. Moreover, they knew that the beauty they had met was the creature from the fairy tales. The agents saw the fox's fur-covered paws, which the girl had tried to hide under a see-through dress. Despite all this, they agreed to go with her into her forest house. The
Dumbass.
surviving agent was a citizen of Korea. In Korean culture, the nine-tailed fox carries the name Kumiho and is believed to be an exceptionally spiteful demon. In the mythology of other Asian countries,
Once again,
the
aren't all
creature is
women?
often described as naive or even benevolent. Perhaps this is partly why the Korean
Yeah.
soldiers' teammates were so careless about meeting SCP-953. They even joked that one of them could marry this fox. Although I think she would
Bruh.
be more suited to marry Ramsay Bolton, if you know what I mean. At the time, the object was also using her powers of suggestion. What happened after that went as follows. The girl served the men dinner in her cottage. They felt very drowsy and went to rest. When the Korean man woke up in the middle of the night,
They got
he
Bill Cosby.
discovered that one of the
No,
agents
God,
had gone missing. He found his companion in the
Bruh.
bushes with SCP-953.
whoa, in the
The
bushes.
demon was
Pause on
pretending to
that.
try to seduce the man. But instead,
boy.
She chewed off his manhood and then devoured his liver.
Oh,
The
God.
agent returns to the
God.
cottage,
My
followed
balls.
by his partner
My
who had been
balls.
killed in front of him, except now he had glowing eyes. The man didn't
Shoot it.
hesitate to kill the creature that was pretending to be his partner. The shot woke the third soldier up. He made the only logical conclusion and ordered the shooter to surrender. At that moment, the fox attacked him from behind, and the remaining agent was wounded in
Run.
the shoulder. The man saw SCP-953 skinning his partner. He also noticed the dinner that the girl had served them the evening before. There were live maggots and human flesh instead of rice. After this, the
Oh,
man
God.
ran away. Somehow, he managed to lure the creature into
Lost
a wolf
Boys
pit that he
reference
had
right
found
there.
nearby.
If you guys
The
have ever
fox
seen
fell
that old-ass
directly
movie.
onto the stakes. But
Man,
the
I
agent
still
noticed that this only
believe.
slightly delayed her. The reinforcements arrived just as the Foundation employee was fighting off the
My
predator
butt
with a
is
flamethrower.
flaming.
After all that he'd experienced and seen, the man surprisingly opposed the object's termination, as well as SCP-953's poor containment conditions. He also visited the creature in her cell. The agent explained
What?
that when the fox escapes, she kills everyone that has treated her badly. In fact, this has already happened 5 times. After the
Damn.
last capture,
You
the
people
creature's
suck.
provided with food and raw liver every day, and clean bed linens once a week. The fox can get a book or plum wine for good behavior. Because of her psychological influence, employees are forbidden to approach the object's cell closer than 100 meters when its door is not sealed. Direct contact is not allowed at all. The fox's room is at the very end of corridor number 99 in Site 17. All communications are carried out with the help of remote-controlled robots.
Should we go
the
there
SCP
if we happen
Foundation
to
also
have
used
the-
data from the
No.
Ancient Legends of Kumiho to contain the object.
Pretty
It
sure-
turned
I'm
out
pretty
that the
sure we're all
fox is
stupid
really
enough
afraid
to
of
do it.
dogs. She doesn't come within 10
No, I
meters of
lost
them.
it.
Therefore, several dog kennels were put in front of
Yeah, see?
SCP-953's cell.
Good
Preference
doggies.
is given to hunting breeds like the Korean Jindo and the American Foxhound. The
There you
object's
go.
sixth most recent escape was particularly noteworthy. First, the fox managed to hide for decades. Second, she appeared in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the 2000s.
Oh.
And third, she killed more people this time than any other. SCP-953
Oh, God.
appeared at the YIFCON convention, where furries,
No.
fans of anthropomorphic animals
Oh,
gathered.
God.
The fox killed 27
Based.
people there.
Based.
She placed the
27
body of
people.
each victim in the most
She killed 27 people, and nothing of value was
He
lost.
was lost. Based SCP.
Oh, man, that
Based
video.
SCP.
Best
unexpected
SCP.
places. In a
Best.
fridge, hanging from a shower
Oh,
curtain, inside a costume, even in a mattress,
Jesus.
and served on plates at a banquet table.
Oh, God.
SCP-953 was captured, and all surviving witnesses were treated with Class A amnestics. Meanwhile,
Hopefully.
members of the MT
I think anybody who winds up at YEFCON should be treated with Class A amnestics, just
what
in
would-
general.
All of it being given a different identity entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
PF noted that the creature was apathetic and didn't resist. After that, the fox made no attempt to breach containment and didn't kill anyone else. Such behavior from SCP-953 doesn't seem strange to me. Just
Yeah,
a couple
exactly.
of centuries ago, Kumiho terrified people. Some trembled only at the sound of her name, and others worshipped her as a goddess. And now she's been captured 5 times and chained up like a mongrel. After that, she went to a festival where the image
Oh,
of Kumiho
God.
was used as a sexy costume.
Oh, jeez.
No wonder the creature wanted to kill people even more. Or maybe there's another explanation for this outburst
then she
of
just gave up
animosity
on life.
and subsequent apathy. What do you think? Put your comments on that subject and what you think about Kumiho in general down below. This has been Detective Void. See you later.
Okay, before we get
Based.
started on this one, but yeah, exactly. Before we get started on the other one, this is an important part of the video that I'm inserting on my own, guys. Pause on that. So I have to ask you guys this all-important question, and you knew I was going to ask it. Smash or pass?
Passed.
Smash.
Carter's
The
got
fuck?
smash. Walker's a pass. Okay,
Well,
Rocker.
I passed.
Yeah,
Atlas
but what about-
passes.
You know what?
Yeah, for my women to not be filleting people alive.
I'm kind of hot, so smash.
Yes. Okay, and I will be agreeing with Rocker and Carter. I will smash.
Well, these are women.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Let's keep going.
Scientists
Not
have
this
recently
question.
gotten
Oh, this question will not be asked of all the SCPs because some of these SCPs, you know, if you would smash, then you're fucked up. Okay.
Promising job at an influential organization. In order to demonstrate his competence and move up the career ladder, he had to work very hard. He
Damn.
would have forgotten about the need to
Yeah,
eat
that
if
looks
not
like
for his
me.
wife. The researcher's wife, who worked as a medical assistant, was pregnant. The man was looking forward to his baby being born, but was also very worried. He had just started his path with the organization, and he didn't want to miss the chance to become a head researcher. Would he be able to devote enough time to his young family? Would he have energy
Creepy
and
looking
money?
kid right
Would
there.
his wife cope? The scientist was inundated with all of these thoughts. But they were completely normal thoughts for a man about to become a parent to have before the child was born. But the
True.
researcher's fatherhood ended before it began. His daughter was stillborn. An ordinary married couple would have no choice but to try and survive the tragedy. Some could cope with the misfortune by drowning themselves in their work. Others might go to a specialist for help. The husband and wife could even break up or even try to cut their lives short. All of this could happen in any normal family. But the family in question wasn't normal. The junior
No.
SCP Foundation researcher refused to accept the tragic truth. A plan immediately popped
Okay, notice that they have not said his name. Just make note of that.
into his head, which he then went off to implement. In order to breathe life into his stillborn daughter, he used several anomalous objects. The girl was resurrected, but as you would expect, the father and child paid too high a price for this. The couple was junior researcher Adam and his wife Evelyn. The girl who was born dead came to life after her
wait a
father's
minute.
procedures.
Hey, wait a minute. Adam and Eve.
Kind of.
But she began to exhibit anomalous abilities and was classified as SCP-321. The child of man
Well, I'll just put this right there. Their names were Adam and Evelyn Bright.
So
as the girl
remember, Dr. Bright is not supposed to go anywhere near.
That's
the
not
Night Door.
Dr. Bright. That is his father.
Oh, that's it. That's his dad.
Yes.
was called informally is a safe object. It's known that the object
were
was
bo-
born on July 4th, sometime in the middle or late 1800s, and isn't really a child anymore, although in the typical sense, it likely never was. The object's skin, hair, and eyes don't have typical human pigmentation. Since its resurrection, the child of man has not stopped growing, and as such, it's now 3 meters and 10 centimeters tall and weighs
Damn.
110 kilograms.
Jeez.
Despite its size,
That's horrifying.
Oh, for purposes, that's over 9 feet and weighs way over 200 pounds.
the creature has a very low level of intelligence. It's unable to speak, although its vocal cords are both fully formed and healthy. The object only makes sounds characteristic of babies, including crying. Even the simplest everyday tasks are incredibly difficult for SCP-321. It took the object several years to learn how to eat with cutlery. Spatial orientation and adaptation to external factors also proved difficult. After life was breathed back into the dead child, it acquired an abnormal regenerative ability. The object's body recovered 5 times faster than the average human's, but its physical and mental developments were severely slowed. Study of the object showed that too many stem cells were being produced in its body. This effect is likely responsible for the abnormal regeneration. It could have appeared due to the influence
And
of
its intense
SCP
growth.
objects during its resurrection. However, there's another version that we'll come back to a little later. Because of its constant growth, the creature's heart became unable to do its job. It wasn't strong enough to circulate such a large volume of blood throughout the huge body. SCP-321's brain stopped getting enough oxygen, and the object's body then began to break down. Even its regenerative properties were no longer sufficient. Then,
Damn.
the organization began to develop an artificial heart. But this was back in 1948, and such technology was, even for the Foundation, quite complicated. While the heart was being created, SCP-321's movements had to be restricted. By the end of the 1900s, the artificial heart was ready and was successfully installed. The object's body fully regenerated, but its general condition didn't change. The creature's now being held in a typical humanoid cell, but it requires special conditions. SCP-321's room is equipped with a special restraining mechanism to support its body. A special diet was also developed for the object. It provides for 3 meals a day, exclusively liquid. Every day, employees conduct a 3-hour course of physical therapy with the anomalous woman, and its artificial heart is examined every month. In addition, SCP-321 is only allowed to leave the chamber for planned experiments. The object is forbidden to have any things, except for a few soft toys.
That sucks.
SCP-321's father is known to have used a number of anomalous objects for its resurrection. Among them in particular was SCP-590. Both of these facts are extremely remarkable. First, it raises a logical question. How did a junior researcher manage to utilize several objects for personal use and
Good
not
question.
be punished or even eliminated? Moreover, notes in the SCP-321 file tell us that Adam really worked his way up the ladder at the Foundation. After each promotion, he sent a request to the O5 Council to take his daughter off of the list of objects. By the late 1800s, Adam had become personnel director, and then the director of Site 4. This stopped neither the scientist's career growth nor his attempts to bring his child home. He took the O5 12 spot on the O5 Council, but even after that, he was refused the release of SCP-321. Other members of the board, in particular O5-1, said in response that the object was never Adam's daughter. The scientist was threatened with dismissal from his post if he didn't stop. Getting back to the question of how a junior researcher resurrected his daughter with impunity with the help of anomalous objects, I found a whole series of data which indicates that Adam was a close relative of the Foundation's brilliant mad scientist, Dr. Jack Bright. Among the employees, he's also known as Doc, Dr. J, and even, oh god, no.
Oh
He's
god,
the personnel
no!
director for Site 17.
Oh god, no.
He's referred to as oh god, no.
Pretty appropriate response, to be honest.
Yes, perfectly measured and appropriate.
18, 19, and 63. After an incident with SCP-963, Bright died, resurrected, and became immortal. The organization has a list of almost 300 things that
Well, actually, it's not. It's the medallion on his neck. His soul is in it, so if anybody touches it, their soul is erased and his soul replaces theirs.
Oh.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, that's why he's not allowed to refer to D-Class as extra lives. He also he's also gotten in trouble for referring to the O5 Council as his fancy dancing pants.
I mean,
What hasn't he not gotten in trouble with?
Jeez, I don't know.
But the
Apparently he did something that had to do with the Dragon Zord, so okay.
okay, so let's hear this list of over 300 items he's not allowed to make.
We're not going through the whole thing, dude. That would take forever, but yes, there's a lot.
that the scientist is not allowed to do. But he is allowed to stay on as the Foundation's unofficial bookie. And now, the most
Unofficial
interesting
bookie.
thing. There's information that indicates SCP-321 is Bright's niece, and SCP-590, who helped revive the Child of Man, is his younger brother. This object looks like a guy about 16 years old. His appearance hasn't changed for a number of years. The teenager is able to heal mental and physical illnesses of anyone he touches. Meanwhile, he takes the illnesses upon himself. At some point, SCP-590 had to cure himself with another object. We know that after this, Bright used his younger brother's skills to urgently cure several people of their intellectual disabilities. And as a result, SCP-590 sunk to the intellectual level of a 3-year-old. It's unknown whether this incident is related to SCP-321. It's also unknown as to what exactly SCP-590's role is in the resurrection of its niece. But since it's related to this anomalous object, its properties may be hereditary and not acquired. And the story of this anomalous Foundation family doesn't end here. Adam was about 130 to 200 years old when he stepped down. The strange part isn't the man's age, but the fact that members of the O5 Council don't retire. They only vacate their posts after they die. And yet, at one of the meetings, Adam brought up the issue of his departure for the Council's consideration. After long discussions and loud conversations, a vote was held. At the time, the O5 Council consisted of Adam's supporters, and even some of his relatives. It seems that the Foundation is inherited in this immortal family. The votes were equally divided. According to protocol, in this case, the decision is made against the issue. But then O5-13 came into play, the existence of whom still remains in question. Regardless of whether the 13th member of the Council is a real person or not, they can influence the vote. According to one version, O5-13 is the tiebreaker. The position rotates among the 12 members of the Council to regulate situations like what happened during the vote over Adam's resignation. Ultimately, the former O5-12 received his pension. No one knows where he is now, or whether his memory's been erased. Adam himself told of a special village that he created in the mountains. Retired Foundation
He's probably been neuralized.
Yeah, he's dead.
employees and agents live there.
Sounds-
Some of them have
He's
been
dead.
treated with amnestics and don't remember the past, while others have kept their memories and have taken over the protection of the settlement. As for SCP-321, it remains in the Foundation site. Members of the O5 Council are known to have been forbidden from coming into contact with any objects. And although Adam is clearly not the most meticulous employee when it comes to following rules and protocols, there is a possibility that, after receiving a position on the council, he never saw SCP-321 again.
Probably.
On one hand, the object isn't the researcher's daughter in essence. But on the other, is there any parent out there who would agree with the first statement? What do
Yeah,
you think?
that's true.
Can we call Adam the father of SCP-321?
The thing is,
or
though,
is
there
the
are some
resurrected
parents who would
object
agree
not
with that
really his
statement.
daughter? And if you know anything about Adam's family
people
or
are
about
assholes.
Bright, share it in the comments. I'm really interested in figuring out these guys' family ties. This
You
has
really
been Detective
should.
Void. Take care of your family, and I'll see you in the next video.
Yes, family's
If
important.
anomalous humanoids created a society similar to that of
Okay, this one's for Rocker.
humans, then SCP-2396 would lead its feminist movement. The object would have definitely become a bastion of man-hating. It even has a suitable name, Ms. Sweeting. The movement's motto could be SCP-2396's saying that it's good to have boys and unicorns that you can not only play with, but eat too. The object's anomalous properties would provide the movement supporters with a male-free space within a 6-kilometer radius. Hello, guys and girls. As always, Detective Void here, along with my story about a new SCP object. I dedicate it to the beautiful ladies out there, because it's about the fun and dangerous Ms. Sweetie, aka SCP-2396.
That's a big
The
bitch.
creature was the reason for the deaths of many people, just because they were men. Over time, the Foundation has managed to take control of Ms. Sweetie's abnormal powers. Now it no longer gets the chance to eat candy boys. SCP-2396 is a humanoid creature,
Damn.
practically identical to an Earth woman.
And apparently she likes to sleep naked.
Yeah, and has elf ears.
The object's external features are pink hair and pink irises.
Okay, I'm gonna make this note right here. At no point in any of the files does it say she has pink skin, pointed ears, or her eyes being black like that. At no point. It just says her irises are pink and her hair is pink. Other than that, she's supposed to look completely human. So this is all artist rendition.
Ms. Sweetie is also
I'm not saying-
significantly larger than the average woman. It's 2.5 meters tall and weighs 101 kilograms.
Okay, for reference, that's 8.25 feet tall and a little bit over 200 pounds.
So she's taller than all of us.
Yes. And yet, even though she's like about 3 feet taller than me, almost 3 feet taller than me, she weighs like 30 pounds less than I do.
Uh,
I bet you know one thing she can't top. My insanity.
The object
I
only
don't know.
poses a danger to men. Immediately after its discovery, the creature was classified as Keter and put into a temporary holding area. SCP-2396 didn't get its name by accident. It needs a constant intake of sugar or sugary foods. Despite the fact that it eats normal food, it doesn't need to go to the restroom. Processes of digestion and waste product disposal are not mentioned in Foundation documents.
I certainly hope not.
Miss Sweetie doesn't get better regardless of the number of goodies it eats. A lack
Unless
of
you're
sugar
into
in
that shit.
SCP-2396's diet leads to severe headaches and visual impairment. Scientists attribute this feature to a critically high level of glucose in the creature's blood plasma, hyperglycemia. It generally stays around a level of 400 milligrams per deciliter. In healthy people without diabetes, 140 milligrams per deciliter is the average. A lack of sweets in the object's diet leads to a drop in blood sugar levels, but it immediately trends toward the maximum level of consuming even after a minimal amount of sugar. SCP-2396's anomalous properties manifest only in men. All men within a radius of 46 meters from Miss Sweetie try to move as far away from it as they can as quickly as possible. Direct contact with the object can be fatal, after which the victim has a kind of diabetic coma. This property is, so to speak, built into SCP-2396 by default. It
Wait a
doesn't
minute,
show
wait a
aggression
minute.
towards men and
What?
Wait a minute. Freaking. I'm Wilfred Brimley.
And I have diabetes.
And
Oh God, here we go.
I have diabetes.
and doesn't
It's
control its
entirely
deadly
too loud in
effects,
here.
but says that it
Quiet
helps
down.
to keep
Oh,
nasty
here
brothers
we
and their
go.
friends at a distance. Immediately after discovery, a temporary containment area was set up for SCP-2396. Only female Foundation staff were allowed to attend it. A task force was also formed, without a single man. The object was provided with 1 liter of sugar syrup per day. While scientists were
Jesus
looking for a way to
Christ.
neutralize the object's anomalous properties, the territory within
That's a
the
lot of
6
sugar.
kilometer radius was patrolled by members of the containment task force Lambda 6, the Girly Girls. Their assignment
Who
was
thinks
to
of the
remove any
names of these
civilian in
teams?
Miss Sweetie's area of effect, as well as to neutralize SCP-2396-A and 2396-B. The first are objects that resemble colorful candies.
He's fishing.
They're made of simple sugars
Yes.
and randomly
Good man.
appear within the 6 kilometer radius around the creature. When Miss Sweetie is in a bad mood, the number of SCP-2396-A instances increase. More of them tend to appear in places with high concentrations of people. The candies are absolutely harmless to women. In the event that a man comes into contact with the candy, irreversible
it.
transformations
Yeah.
begin in his body. First, his blood sugar level rises, sometimes exceeding 600 milligrams per deciliter.
Oh, God.
Such a spike of blood sugar often leads to the victim's paralysis. Then, all the components of his body, bones, muscles, and even blood turn into candy, under the influence of unknown forces. This process
literally
takes
becomes
12
candy.
hours from the moment
Yeah.
of contact. The candy boys are
Real
designated
life
as
Candyman.
SCP-2396-B. Most often, they take the form of
Majin
large
Buu
humanoids,
vibes from
but
this.
sometimes they transform into
What'd you say?
Majin Buu vibes. From
That's
it.
what I was gonna say, but not Majin Buu. Android 21.
Oh yeah.
You know, she kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
it's kind of just like Android 21. That's why I'm thinking that this little artist rendition, because you even look at the way she's drawn here, she kind of looks like Android 21 too.
Yeah.
to unicorns. Since the moment Ms. Sweetie was placed into temporary containment, all emerging instances of 2396-B have tried to free their creator. These entities attack any male person they come across and have significant strength and durability. Meanwhile, all of the candy
But
creatures
they're
follow the
candy.
orders of any
Yeah.
woman. Foundation staff use this property to order the entities to surrender. They're neutralized through melting with flamethrowers or in furnaces. SCP-2396's
See? Do you see?
temporary
Do you see?
containment was carried
Yeah.
out in an
Wait,
area
wait, pause it,
accessible
pause
to
it, pause it. Listen, Doc. I know that flamethrower is really expensive now, but you see? Do you see?
Do you see?
Right
Do you
there.
see?
Do you
Right
see?
there! Right there!
billions. So the spread of
oh God.
anomalous candies led to the transformation of a large number of men. Their
Do you see?
disappearance was explained
It's a
by the
coincidence?
Foundation
I
standard
think
Lost
not.
Hiker cover story. All witnesses to the object's existence or its anomalous powers who hadn't succumbed to transformation were treated with Class B amnestics. In the course of
Why not
studying Miss
Class A?
Sweetie, it turned out that the manifestation of its anomalous effect could be stopped. After 48 hours without sugar, the object stops generating 2396-A instances, and their influence on men disappears. During that period, the object is observed to have a sharp drop in blood sugar, down to 10 milligrams per deciliter. It turned out that the object couldn't distinguish between states of peak increase and decrease of blood sugar, that is, between hyper and hypoglycemia, due to the similarity of the symptoms. Taking
Okay.
advantage of this, specialists started to feed Miss Sweetie sucralose syrup. This is a well-known sugar substitute. In it, hydrogen-oxygen groups are replaced with chlorine. Whatever the chemist did, the resulting product was 600 times sweeter than sugar. Meanwhile, it doesn't change the taste. It's safe. There are no calories in it at all, and it has a 0 glycemic index. So
man,
SCP-2396 drinks this exact sweet syrup, but can't raise its blood sugar. However, Ms. Sweetie still noticed the change in the drink's taste, calling it crappy. Now the object is in Zone 19, in a standard chamber for humanoid forms.
So her
it
powers
doesn't
are
show
neutralized
aggression and
now.
doesn't try to escape. The neutralization of its anomalous properties led to the lowering of its class from Keter to Euclid. As a precaution, all employees who come into contact with SCP-2396 are female. In addition, Foundation employees are forbidden to tell the object about the replacement of sugar with sucralose, and of the neutralization of its powers. Miss Sweetie thinks that it's still creating anomalous candies and turning men into sweets. A week after the introduction of the sugar substitute,
She
Doc-
was creating candy
Yeah.
men?
Yeah, she does that intentionally, dude.
Yeah.
Dr. O'Herlihy conducted an interview with SCP-2396. The object addressed the woman by name, calling her its best gal. As always, Miss Sweetie spoke cheerily and in an easygoing manner. When asked about the influence of its anomalous powers on men, it responded or replied with the words, "Boys, what are you going to do with them?" SCP-2396 was also
Not
happy to
eat them.
reminisce about its creator,
I know.
Dr. W. In fact, the anomalous lady is part of Dr. Wondertainment's Little Misters collection.
Oh,
Many of them are also
yeah.
in containers at
There
the
it is,
Foundation.
Dr.
The
Wondertainment.
name Ms.
Yep.
Sweetie, along with the manufacturer's name, is tattooed on the outside of the object's left thigh. Dr.
Nice.
Wondertainment's identity is
Nice.
still a mystery. It's also unknown whether the Doctor is a real person or just a name used for the company's brand. The
Mayor
company is
Humdinger.
known to create anomalous amusements.
Oh, God.
Despite the fact that
Yeah.
some of them have
An
extremely
origami
dangerous
682.
properties, all of them are children's toys. Several Foundation specialists and related organizations believe that the creation of dangerous knickknacks is only a cover. Nevertheless, all of Dr. Wondertainment's known objects, in one way or another, actually fulfill their main function.
Why isn't
entertainment.
he turning into a
Putting
candy?
men on the run or turning them into candy
That's-
unicorns isn't exactly childish
not
fun,
like- this is
but
just
Miss
supposed to be like
Sweetie
display
explained the
shit,
reason for this abnormal effect. It's a toy for girls, and boys really like to break their sisters' dolls. Dr. Wondertainment
So she
saw to it that
recognizes
this
herself
wouldn't
as a
happen
doll.
again to SCP-2396. Ms. Sweetie believes that men never grow up, and that they stay boys forever, constantly trying to fight with their friends. This probably explains the aggressiveness that SCP-2396-B individuals show towards men. During the friendly
kill
interview,
you.
Dr. O'Herlihy asked why some of the affected people turn into unicorns. Ms. Sweetie replied that all little girls like unicorns, and they get bored of everything so quickly. So it's good if you can eat the boys or
made
the
of
unicorns when you
people.
get tired of playing with them. SCP-2396 stated that it didn't have any certificate of authenticity, but it recited the text that accompanies all the Little Misters from memory. In the instructions, the owner of the toys is encouraged to collect all the Misters and thus become Mr. Collector.
Buy
Then there's a
Skyrim?
list of all the members of the limited edition collection. Notably, Miss Sweetie verbalized every punctuation mark in the list, and it read the name Mr. Lie as a long exhalation. It's also in Foundation containment, designated as SCP-2284. It's unknown as to why Sweetie signaled it out like this. I won't argue with Miss Sweetie when it says that all men are still boys, but playing with it could
Yeah,
definitely
well.
be bad. So guys, don't hurt girls, and share your thoughts on SCP-2396 in the comments. See you in my next video.
We can't,
Okay.
Well, we can't exactly have sex with it, so.
Actually, you can because she's not exactly a doll. She is an organic human. I told you she's
Yeah.
completely.
I mean, we can't get close.
No, remember her
Exactly.
powers are neutralized.
Oh well, smash definitely.
Pass.
Okay.
Too much sugar.
Well, like I said, her powers. Okay, Walker's also passed. Hatless.
Pass.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna
I'm the
say.
only one- I'm the-
I'm
I'm the
definitely
only
saying
one.
smash. Oh, also,
Me and
also
Raph are
Rocker.
the only two brave enough.
Rocker, a little bit of trivia for you. The original video of that right there, the thumbnail showed her dressed as Lady Dimitrescu.
Dr. Void, if you ever watched this, good job. Good job. From Dr. Rocker. From Dr. Rocker.
Okay,
Site
now
16.
that you've made your statement, Rocker, I have something else to tell you guys about Miss Sweetie.
What?
During one of the interviews, they asked her, and apparently Miss Sweetie used to be human. Yeah, she did used to be human. However, she stated that she always wanted to be a girl, and now she is a girl's toy.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I have the perfect thing for this.
What? The perfect thing?
You know something? I've had a good chuckle over that one. I had a good chuckle over that one.
Okay.
I'm coming after you.
I'm coming after you. Oh my
Like
god.
operated? You might have to mute that.
No,
Nah, it's just a couple of seconds. It was literally like 2 or 3
no,
seconds.
wait a minute. Say that
Man.
thing one more. Say that fact one more time.
What? Oh, she said she always wanted to be a girl, but now she's a girl, and now she's a girl's toy. What the hell, dude?
That's kind of sus.
She's kind of sus. Anyway, so yeah, but I still say smash.
No.
I ain't even mad. Who put that? Who did that? Was that you, Atlas?
That was me.
Oh, why are you gay? God.
Who said that?
A lot of things
You
on
are gay.
SoundCloud. That's not it.
Gay?
Also, I just noticed 9 trip.
I always.
Okay, so we got some.
Unfortunately, questions
Let's
like
keep
this
going.
haven't bothered many scientists for a long time. Some of them spit not only on the law, but also on the lives of
okay.
their test subjects. One of these inhumane experiments resulted in the anomalous object SCP-191, or the cyborg child.
This is one of the
This
saddest
is a 9-year-old
SCPs.
girl who was the victim of an experimentalist doctor whose name I'll try to determine in the course of this video. She remains as the sole survivor after the evil doctor shot himself during an assault by Foundation agents. The rest of the test subjects either died at the hands of the doctor himself or were eliminated during the operation. Only 20% of the left half of the girl's brain and skull have been preserved. The rest has been removed. In place of the child's left ear and eye are built-in perception sensors that can detect low-frequency radio waves and high-energy gamma radiation. Her teeth, larynx, and lower jaw were also replaced with additional parts, so the anomaly is unable to talk. Her esophagus was rerouted to a special hole made in her neck. Her trachea is connected to a built-in air filtration device. The anomaly's musculoskeletal system has also endured a number of changes. An input-output device has been installed in her forearm, in place of her ulna and radius. It's equipped with USB, Ethernet, FireWire, and DIN 8-pin interfaces.
Damn!
Accessing it is simply pushing up the skin on the girl's right arm.
What'd you say?
Go, plug in the aux cord.
Jeez.
So they
Dude,
made
that
her
takes-
Dude, I could literally play Call of Duty Black Ops on this thing.
God,
Yeah,
dude.
I can read the room.
So you're
I
telling
know,
me
man.
that the doctor essentially just made data.
No, they made a,
Not
they
exactly.
Made a
Data's
freaking
not
LTE
exactly
tower.
cyborg.
They made a
LTE
cell tower.
They
The
made a
surviving
gaming
portion of the
laptop.
object's brain is connected to a 24-core processor. It's able to
Yeah,
translate
okay.
all of the information from the
Does she
sensors
have
into
LED
brain
tracing
impulses.
She
Inside
has
the wild
LED.
pathways are
90.
fiber optic
Do
cables
we-
that transmit
do
data
we-
between different
Wait
parts
a minute,
of the
this is
body.
a really
The
important
anomalous
question. Pause it.
What?
No, it isn't.
Does she have LGB? Wait a minute. RGB. RGB capabilities.
Wait. How much RAM does she have?
Well,
Yeah, how
I
much
think-
RAM?
I am begging you, stop talking. I'm trying to kill you.
God.
So, how much video? How much VRAM are we getting here?
Oh my God, dude. I don't know.
How-
She might.
how
Yeah.
large of
16
an
gigs. 16 gigs.
How much can you store in your SSD?
Let's just keep going.
Child's
Can we get
motor
1
skills are
terabyte?
hindered. The
Yep.
brainstem, along with the cerebellum, which is responsible for coordination in space, were damaged during a surgical procedure. The right arm and
Jesus
most of
Christ.
the right leg are artificial in nature and consist of
She's
steel and
literally
carbon
just a
fiber.
cyborg.
Since
Yeah.
a significant portion of muscle tissue is exposed, the girl is quite prone to infection. In addition, the anomaly has lowered pain and temperature thresholds because of damage to her spine. But despite reduced pain sensitivity, she's given regular doses of analgesics and antibiotics in order to keep the surviving flesh viable. The cyborg child also lacks major blood vessels, lungs, and a heart. In their place is an artificial structure that performs similar functions. The girl is most likely still alive thanks to these components. They can restore functionality even in the event of the body's biological death. Regular nutrition is not required to maintain the cyborg's life. This is due to the surgical interventions in the digestive system. It was
Jeez.
modified to such an extent that any meal is detrimental
might
to the
sound
girl.
dark,
So nutrition occurs
But
by
at this point, just put her out of her misery.
Well, that's not the. And normally I would say yes, but that's not the foundation. They want to find out how she works, so they're gonna keep her alive as long as possible,
Jesus, come
regardless of her
on.
quality of life.
On, really?
Yeah,
She's-
they're
but
assholes.
she's But she's basically dead.
I know she's a little girl.
injecting fortified saline into a metal tube in her neck. Waste output occurs through a drainage system located in her lower back.
Come
Other parts were
on!
also planned to be introduced in place
Jeez.
of her reproductive organs, but apparently the doctor didn't have time. However, his
Yeah, but
notes indicate that he had
it's the
removed them as
doctor's
they were
fault.
non-vital.
Yeah.
The crazy surgeon did this in order to make room for new components. In addition to all of the above, the girl has undergone 15
Does he
other
just
changes,
Well,
the purpose of which
you
are
have to pay
unknown.
attention.
But judging by the fact
Wait a
that
minute,
the
what'd he
child's
say?
vital
Wait a second, let me go back. They were gonna do other changes to her, but the doctor never got to it. Let me
I
just-
know
just-
that, but
let's
what
just
the
get started.
functionality, even in
Yeah,
the event of
why?
the body's biological
Just wait a second.
death.
Listen.
Regular nutrition is not required to maintain the cyborg's life. This is due to the surgical interventions in the digestive system. It was modified
Go
to
forward
such an
just a little
extent that any
Just a
meal
sec.
is detrimental to the girl. So nutrition occurs by injecting fortified saline into a metal tube in her neck.
Jesus
Waste output
Christ.
occurs through a drainage system located in her lower back. Other parts were also planned to be introduced in place of her reproductive organs, but apparently the doctor didn't have time. However, his
Good.
notes indicate that he had removed them as they were non-vital. The crazy
Oh,
surgeon
jeez.
did this in order to make room for new
God.
components. In addition to all of the above, the girl has
There's
undergone
dark.
15 other changes, the purpose of which are unknown. But judging by the fact that the child's vital activity is hindered by all of these modifications, one can conclude that this is merely a test version. All of the changes were made in order to find out whether a person can survive at all under such drastic transformations.
So in other words, she's just a template for the doctor to test new parts.
I hate it. I hate all
As
of
we
this.
can see,
That's
it's
dark.
still possible. Without the ability to move, eat, or speak normally, the girl survived. These physical limitations surely lead to a particular psychological state. Despite the fact that the girl is calm and obedient, scientists doubt her mental well-being. Although the
shit.
object herself
really?
always says
Oh,
through the
really?
computer
Really?
interface that she feels fine. Most
she
of the
can
time,
communicate
the
through
anomaly
by hookup.
remains motionless, either sitting still or lying in the fetal position. This is due to her motor limitations. Her emotional state is as stable as her motor activity. Mood swings are completely absent. The girl is usually melancholic and practically never makes eye contact unless asked to do so. She may be unable to laugh or feel emotions. All attempts to cheer her up have been made in vain. The cyborg's intelligence is more artificial than human. Amidst high-speed data processing, the understanding of that data's meaning is significantly impaired, if not absent altogether. The girl is unable to understand complex tasks on her own. In order for the child to understand human speech, you need to speak as slowly and simply as possible, explaining everything explicitly. However, despite this, the girl is able to emulate many components of computer programs. During one experiment, she was connected to a computer via USB port. SCP-191 was then tasked with reproducing certain images in MS Paint. After a few seconds, the images were accurately drawn, while out of all of the program's tools, only the pencil had been used.
Jeez.
Then the girl produced several drawings on her own. In one of them, a Foundation agent recognized the scene of the doctor's suicide, the one who had turned the child into a cyborg. In the second experiment,
Jeez.
SCP-191 was asked to play a video game. But at the very beginning of the experiment, she
Yo,
broke the
you wanna-
disc that had to be inserted into the console's disk drive.
Oh,
This
shit.
happened because of the girl's poor motor skills. However,
Aw.
she managed to download the game even without the disc. She just had to optically scan the broken media. The girl's eye is usually red, but when she looked at the disc, it turned green. The child said that she simply
Gee.
read all the zeros and ones from the disc and loaded the data onto the console. Meanwhile, the girl seemed very afraid of making a mistake and being punished. Apparently, the
Aw.
creator doctor had been punishing her for every misstep she made. In the last experiment, the tasks became more complicated. The girl was told to enhance fragments of a video taken from a surveillance camera in the employee cafeteria. The child needed to enlarge the images so that they could see the license plate on the cars parked outside the window. In addition, the cyborg had to enhance the video file by expanding the frame, adding 100 pixels to each side. And lastly, the
Jeez.
child was told the exact location of the other camera, so that she could create the video sequence from a different angle. It's not difficult to guess that it's impossible to perform these tasks properly. The resolution of the camera doesn't allow you to see the numbers clearly, and enhancement of the video sequence is impossible without the original data. So the girl carried out the task blindly. The drawn numbers didn't correspond to the real ones, and neither did the augmented portions of the frame. However, the girl reproduced the video from the other angle accurately. When test subjects were given a real video and the fragments generated by the cyborg for comparison, they couldn't distinguish the real recording from the fake one. I'd like to talk to the girl personally, in order to learn more about her background. Fortunately, she's being held in Zone 17, where the security measures are lax. Non-threatening humanoids are kept here, so it's easier to get into than other Foundation facilities.
Good man.
In addition, it's possible to communicate with her remotely. You won't be able to connect through Wi-Fi since the signal will most likely be blocked. The best option would be some sort of USB device. I have a gadget like this that I developed myself. If I put it into any computer, I can connect to it easily. I learned from Foundation archives that any unknown computer devices are tested with SCP-191. As such, I put
What?
my gadget near the entrance to the zone in such a way that the guards wouldn't notice it immediately. After
Oh.
2 hours, I received a signal that my device was connected. To prevent the Foundation from getting my
Wow.
data, I used an old laptop that
Slick.
didn't have any files related
What?
to me or my investigations. After connecting to the cyborg, I typed on the screen for the girl to tell me about herself and the doctor. But apparently, Foundation personnel saw through my plan, and after the first message, all communication was cut off. Nevertheless, the child managed to type the doctor's name, Vase Goldbrook. There were 107 people with that name in the database of US doctors, but none of them fit the bill. It's understandable, because the Foundation most likely scrubbed the database and changed all of the information. The doctor's test subjects, including the surviving cyborg child, were declared victims of a local serial killer. The Foundation, in
Jeez.
turn,
Well, they kinda
liquidated him
were,
in a
if you think
pretrial
about it.
detention center. Fortunately, the name of the killer is now known, Patrick Cornwell. Vase Goldbrook was probably operating somewhere nearby too. The doctor's laboratory was burned down, so I analyzed all the cases of large fires that had happened in these parts. Since the laboratory was most likely in a basement, I had to visit all of these places. New buildings had already been built on some of the sites, and some of the old ones had been restored. I checked all of the buildings for large basements, and there were only 2 suitable ones. I didn't find anything in the first one, but in the second, I found a man trying to dig into the floor with a crowbar. Noticing my presence, he quickly ran away. Rather than chasing him, I decided to see what he was looking for. I had to break a 20-centimeter layer of concrete,
Damn.
but it was worth it.
Wow.
Inside were Dr. Vase Goldbrook's notes, which I took with me for further study.
Oh.
In the notes were drawings of both adult and child cyborgs. The principles of their work were also described in detail, but most importantly, one of the chapters described a robotic copy of the Doctor. All of the robot's internal parts are mechanized, and even human skin is stretched over the exterior.
Gross.
According to the records, this robot was meant to attract attention to itself if the laboratory was attacked by special services, allowing the real Doctor to escape unnoticed. When special services tried to seize the robot Doctor, it's meant to shoot itself in the temple with the pistol it always carries. All of this means that the real Doctor's alive. Most likely, the man who was digging around in the basement was Vase Goldbrook. Ergo, I had a chance to catch him myself, so I went back to the basement to set up an ambush. However, the crazy surgeon wasn't stupid enough to catch my eye again. He had probably already left town. The only thing that he left behind were footprints and fingerprints. Over the years, I've learned how to access all of the fingerprint databases, and none of them contained prints that match the ones found in the basement. As for the footprints, the boots that left them haven't been produced for 30 years. I made a copy of the records I found, and I plan to anonymously send them to Foundation management. Their resources allow them to conduct a search for the runaway doctor more efficiently, although that doesn't mean I'll stay away. It's quite possible that he's set up a new laboratory where he's continuing his brutal experiments. Nevertheless, there's a risk that, if the real doctor is found, the Foundation wouldn't obstruct him this time. Or even worse, that they'll patronize him and sponsor his cruel experiments on people.
That's a possibility as well.
Despite the desire for knowledge and
Exactly.
truth,
'Cause they
such
do
methods
horrible
come at too high
things.
of a price for me. Do you think the truth is worth great human sacrifice, or must we not forget our humanity? Share your opinions in the comments below. In the meantime, I have new objects and
guy's
new
done his
investigations
homework.
waiting for me.
Yeah.
I just came
Yeah,
across an old
you're
video
smart.
clip of Hey Boy, Hey Girl by the Chemical Brothers. It reminded me of the mystery of Beautiful Bones. Yes,
Okay,
sorry,
this is the
my
last
name's
one.
Detective Void. On this channel, I share the results of my investigations.
This isn't
on
the- this one has a
SCP
different
objects.
voice actor,
I
though.
think it's pretty clear as to why I don't reveal my true identity. So, Beautiful Bones is
Nah, it
SCP
could be sick.
1487's nickname, so to speak.
Yeah.
What follows is information about the object known to SCP Foundation staff with level 2 security clearance. This is information for restricted use, and yes, I managed to get a hold of it. Perhaps later I can tell you how, but for now, let's get back to SCP-1487.
That's one of the little misters right there.
Mr. I see Slender Man, I see Siren Head, I see a UFO, I see 07-B, I see SCP-049. I believe
Isn't
that's that's supposed to be the rake up in the top left.
Isn't
Yes.
that black and white photo?
The black and white
Oh,
photo, the
Mallow.
fish, yeah, Mallow,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
fish with the
Pokemon.
fish with the fish with the top hat is the little mister.
Little Mister?
Yeah, that's Mr. Fish.
Is that picture
I'm
of the...
guessing I'm guessing that's from Dr. Entertainment as well.
Yes, that's one of the little misters series, like Miss Sweetie.
Oh, gotcha.
He can't even breathe underwater. He can't even swim. All he does is he just has a fish for a head. That's it.
And he can speak English.
He can speak English. Yes, he can speak English somehow. But he can't. He
Mr.
can't.
Fish.
Not only can he not breathe water, he can't even swim.
Mr. Fish.
He apparently is apparently very put out by the fact that he is like the lamest of all the little misters.
Anyway, Walker.
Isn't that picture on the right beside all of those a picture of E. coli?
Yes, the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm wondering what he's researching, but
It's got everything.
I mean,
under the sun.
some of these things they're not even SCPs, man. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh well, continue.
Yeah, let's go.
The object
This is one of the
itself is
weirder
just a
ones.
teenage girl. This 15-year-old Filipina girl, 70 centimeters high, weighing 70 kilograms, belongs to the Euclid class. Indeed, this classification is norm for containing humanoids with abnormal properties. As such, SCP-1487 is kept in a standard chamber, number 3821 in Zone 23, the zone designated for humanoid life forms. We know that the object was discovered in the state of Tennessee, USA on November 28, 2012. She was a typical
Carter,
named Sarah.
Rockers are like 1%.
The properties manifested has not been recorded,
Wait a minute, pause it,
according to her
pause it.
account.
Yeah!
my god.
Tennessee! Tennessee!
Okay, now that
calm
Rocker's
down.
done getting hyped up, but
Yeah,
This happened
exactly.
before she was
Nashville,
found by Foundation staff.
God.
SCP-1487's anomaly is that instead of people and other living creatures, she sees only their bones. More accurately, she cannot interact with any body parts of living organisms, the only exception being their internal skeleton. This property doesn't apply to
Why?
invertebrates or creatures with exoskeletons. Worms, insects, mollusks, you get the picture. The anomaly doesn't apply to the inanimate matter either. The phrase cannot interact means that she cannot see them and can't touch them. In an interview with Foundation scientists, SCP-1487 said that her hands began to pass freely through people's skin and flesh, but that she could both see and touch their bones. Saffron
that's weird.
started to experience problems with social interactions as she simply could not distinguish people from each other by their skeletons alone. But SCP-1487 got used to this quickly. Moreover, she doesn't have a negative attitude about her ability. Saffron even learned to see the beauty in the skeletons of individual people, which is why she was
Okay.
nicknamed Beautiful Bones. The experiments
Okay,
that
that's
scientists
weird.
conduct with the object
wait,
take
pause it,
place under the
pause it.
supervision of at least two.
what?
At least she's making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. You gotta
Yeah,
give her props for
And
that.
I mean, the human skeletal system is something.
It is fascinating.
It's credible. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Especially
really
looking at
weird.
how everything works together and
Especially
And
while it's
seeing
moving.
it all work. Period. Too.
While it's
you
moving,
get to see,
huh?
like,
Yeah.
you get to see everything while it's alive. You get to. It's
Well,
like,
just the bones. All she sees is the bones.
well,
Yeah, but it's still
like, you
more
get to see,
impressive
like,
than-
yeah.
if it was
Yeah.
an operating
Spooky,
table.
scary skeletons.
Oh my
and
God.
shiver-
Oh God, no!
I swear
no.
to God, if one of them is like a really tall skeleton and it wears a suit named fucking Jack, I'm gonna be upset.
Ah!
Specialists with no less than level 3 security clearance.
So then all she sees is
SCP-1487 is
bones.
also restrained
Yeah.
from physical contact when in the presence of people and other living organisms. The only exception is
Why?
during specially organized active
because
experiments.
if you touch a
Leading the
human
investigation
bone-
of SCP-1487
'Cause she can actually
was
affect a
Dr.
person
Miles
pretty
Weiss,
badly.
a specialist in the study of anomalous children and teenagers. Here's where things start to get more interesting. Wright conducted weekly interviews with the object to observe her. Sometimes, in addition to those conversations, he would drop in on Saffron for a few minutes unannounced. Foundation documents indicate that only the doctor was allowed to call the object by her name, and everyone else had to use the designation SCP-1487.
See, that's one of the shitty things about that. Like, if you're a person and they refuse to refer to you as your name, you're just a number to them. That is real shitty.
You're just an item.
Very.
Yeah,
SCP-2.
because like you're a person, like a normal human. There's just something weird about you. They don't even refer to you as a human. You're just an object.
How are you doing today, SCP-234? I swear to God, if you call me that one more time, I'll kill you and everyone in this facility.
And no, dude, no. It's like SCP-234. Call me that again. Now snap your neck.
Call me that again, and I will personally rip your balls off.
I do have a
Kiki.
question though.
What?
If she's able to see only skeletons, does that like apply to like anywhere?
Any living creature. Living creature.
Not
but
like
she's-
any living creature, just like the skeleton. Like say she's in the graveyard, can she like see skeletons?
No,
No.
Because they're
She
on the
sees.
ground.
She sees normally. It's just instead of seeing people, she sees their bones.
You just see straight through
Yeah,
them.
yeah. She just sees
Yeah, that's-
through their bones in general. Like she won't see something that's on the other side of a wall or underground. Other than that,
okay.
her vision is normal. It's just that she just
yeah.
instead of
I
people,
guess
she
what
sees
I'm
bones.
asking is, what's the limit here?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can see the bones, but you can't see like through walls and everything.
And he also said that invertebrates or creatures with exoskeletons, she also doesn't see them differently. They just are.
So,
Okay.
SCP-2501. How are you doing today?
so it means
After
like
arriving in
spiders.
Zone
and things.
23,
Yeah.
the object first
Arthropods.
contacted
Okay.
Dr. Wright. The initial conversation was recorded in minutes of interview 1487 Delta. During this conversation, SCP-1487 was relaxed and exhibited the characteristic behavior and vocabulary of a teenager. When the doctor introduced
Okay.
himself and offered that the
Poor
object
girl,
could
man.
address him however
Yeah.
she wanted, Saffron replied that she would call him Miley, like the shitty singer. Her words, not mine. She was probably talking
Oh.
about Miley Cyrus, but that doesn't really matter. Other than the fact that she barely does
Burn.
anything to see.
Either way,
In the
it's
interview,
funny.
SCP-1487 described how she first discovered her anomaly. She didn't understand what was happening and was scared. Eventually, she realized that her hands were passing through human flesh, allowing her to feel the person's bones. Now, by the way, she really enjoys this. Hey, no judgments here. During the same period, SCP-1487 started to see skeletons. At first, it was only some people, then more and more. Taking her eyes off a person made of flesh and then looking back at them, Saffron could see only their skeleton, and vice versa. At the time of reporting this interview, the girl that is, if I have your permission to call her that, anyway, at this point, she still wasn't seeing everyone as being made of bones, notably as the girl herself reported Dr. Wright continued to remain in human form. She also said that the anomaly affects her perception of living creatures in photographs and other images, too. After that, the interview was over. The following conversations went pretty much the same way. The girl joked and chattered away as usual. Dr. Adelaide Fredericks, a specialist in child psychology, also observed some of the interviews. Wright introduced the woman to Saffron, but the girl joked that she wouldn't be able to identify her skeleton during the next meeting.
Yes.
The minutes of these interviews were marked with the letters of the Greek alphabet, but not in order. Because of that, I can't say exactly how much time passed from the moment the teenager was placed in the zone until the conversation I'm about to share with you. Presumably about a month, maybe a little longer. During Wright's visit described in the Epsilon document, the girl behaved in a completely different way. She was quiet and answered questions curtly and abruptly. The doctor kept asking about any changes or news from her week. He recalled the large number of experiments conducted during that period. It looks like he wanted to hear about a specific incident, but SCP-1487 never made contact. A week later, the girl refused to speak directly with Wright or even in his presence. The next interview was conducted by Dr. Fredericks. Saffron told her that when she had arrived at the Foundation Zone, she had seen both skeletons and creatures, so to speak, in their entirety. Eventually, they all turned into walking bones. All of them, except for Dr. Wright. The teenager was terrified. She asked Fredericks for help, demanded that Wright not be allowed near her again, and started to get hysterical. The doc decided that this was a little suspicious and wrote a report to the director of Zone 23, Roger Langley. He ordered that Wright be examined inside and out, blood analysis, DNA testing, and any skeletons in his closet. This phrase seems quite symbolic given the circumstances, doesn't it? But what happened next? Well, since December 19th, 2012, no one has seen Dr. Wright. As far as I know, Foundation operatives continue to search for him to no avail.
He disappeared.
The SCP Foundation itself has considered using the girl to identify any employees with the same phenomenon as Wright. Only no one knows what this phenomenon even is, nor do they know where the doctor went, whether he was actually a doctor or even human. Or could Saffron be responsible for his disappearance? I don't consider these sorts of theories, that she was so used to seeing bones that the lone body of the doctor drove her crazy. This seems very unlikely, especially given the fact that apparently an ordinary normal teenager not only got used to the sight of skeletons within the span of 2 months, but that she also grew to love them. And then she panics at the sight of a human body? I'm no Stanislavski, of course, but I don't believe it. This raises the question, why was SCP-1487 classified as Euclid when so many other sentient humanoids have fallen into the safe category? But this isn't all that important to me. What's important is this. Does the girl see clothes on people? All of these reports only talk about bones, but not about clothed skeletons. It's said that her hand passes through skin and flesh, but there's no indication as to whether they also pass through fabric of clothing. And what would happen if you put gloves on her hand?
Well, that's because he keeps saying the word bone.
No, that's not the funny part. She's like, just skeletons and clothes are just funny to me, and I don't know why.
Nor did I manage to find out whether there were any experiments conducted to test the...
No, it's like it's something like a skeleton in a suit is like the CEO of a company, and it's just like, well, it seems like we've got enough spooks this quarter. Good job.
It reminds me, one of my teachers had like a skeleton in like a typical school uniform, and it was funny as hell.
I don't get it. It's just funny to me.
Just skeletons and clothes, like, it is just weirdly funny. I don't know why.
And they always look like they're smiling when they open up their mouths.
Like, I can just imagine, like, really charismatic skeletons at, like, the highest ranks of, like, power in a organization or something. That'd be pretty funny.
Well, given the subject matter, I'm going to do this right now. Okay, so, time for a disturbing Skeletor fact. Everybody who's sitting on a toilet, their anuses are connected through the sewer system.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again!
Until we meet again!
Until we meet again!
Did you know that your lips are made of the skin of your anus? Until we meet again!
When two people kiss, they're essentially a 60-foot long tube that connects two anuses.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again! Okay, let's keep going.
Did you
The
know?
ability
Did you
of
know
her other
that-
body
did you-
parts.
That's enough, dude, that's enough.
This is pretty
Oh,
obvious,
man.
so I guess there were. It was precisely these test results that should have affected what class the object was assigned to. SCP-1487 is a Euclid. With such a harmless abnormal property, this is an unjustified classification, even for a sentient humanoid. Therefore, I believe that both Saffron's gaze and body penetrate through fabric, too. There's another important aspect to this. The
You're hurting me.
consequences of these
You're
infiltrations.
hurting me.
The fact that the girl doesn't see flesh is one thing, but what happens to living tissue when Saffron's hand enters it? I guess nothing. If her infiltrations caused physical damage to living creatures, it would have been indicated, even in the document for employees with level 2 clearance. This detail is noted in the containment protocol and should be taken
God, she
into account
took
in
a
the case of a
swing.
violation.
She took a
Thus,
rib.
something happens
Ouch.
to the girl's body itself when she invades the bodies of
So
other
you mean
living
to tell
creatures.
me that she
bodies
could
she cannot
literally go Sub-Zero on someone?
Yes, and rip your spine out.
Mhm.
Yes.
Let's see. So that's what prompted me to
Predator.
mention the Chemical Brothers at the beginning of this video. In it, a schoolgirl was so interested in bones that over time she started to see skeletons instead of people. The same thing should have happened with SCP-1487. She could have done this herself, or it could have been done by some external psycho-anomalous object or force. This explains why
Okay.
Saffron doesn't perceive clothing, which isn't living matter, and more importantly, she sees skeletons instead of living creatures in pictures. We can all agree that living matter and its image are two
This is so
completely
funny.
different things, from physical, chemical, biological, and many other
The
points of view,
Mona Lisa.
but not from the psycho-emotional
Oh, God.
perspective.
Oh, God.
This means
Good
that
lord,
her
dude.
perception must be programmed
Really?
regarding both what to see and what not to see. When her brain identifies an object or its image as a living being, a mechanism is triggered. It keeps the girl from recognizing everything that covers the subject's skeleton, both flesh and clothing alike. This is
hell?
quite an advanced case of prosopagnosia, a disorder in which people are practically unable to perceive and recognize faces, but have no trouble with other objects. If the girl had been affected
Yeah.
by some sort of virus or mimetic object, Foundation scientists would have found it. On top of that, Saffron wouldn't be classified as SCP, but as infected. Therefore, I'm inclined to believe that she has the anomalous property, not the other way around. But I consider her ability to penetrate through flesh as a side effect of the main anomaly, existing in several dimensions at once. You can also call it parallel worlds or parallel universes. What are we dealing with here? The girl sees and perceives the reality occupied by you and me, so she also resides in it. At the same time, the girl can penetrate
No.
the flesh of living beings in this dimension without harming them. She also cannot see or establish contact with a significant portion of matter in our universe,
That is weird.
namely flesh and the things that cover it. Therefore, these things don't exist for her. This simply cannot be within the same dimension, but this is possible for a living being who exists in two versions of the same reality simultaneously. It's sort of similar to the practical version of Schrodinger's cat. Saffron exists in the intermediate, blurry state when the cat is both alive and dead at the same time. According to the rules of the
so
experiment,
half and
if an
half.
outside observer
Yeah.
appears, they will determine a single state of existence for the cat. In the case with the girl, the observer determines a single dimension. Time to go back to Dr. Wright. So there was clearly something wrong with him. The fact he appeared as a body of flesh in the girl's eyes clearly speaks in favor of some sort of anomaly. Given my conclusion regarding SCP-1487's ability to exist in different dimensions, Wright may also be a creature from a parallel universe. Maybe the girl found this out, and so she refused to communicate with him going forward. As for the doctor's disappearance, I see two possible options. First, he realized the Foundation would discover him and he ran away. Second, Saffron saw him as a danger and destroyed him. I'm currently trying to get a hold of the documents regarding Wright's medical investigation and the experiments with SCP-1487. I'll definitely share any news about the object with you when I have it. Until then, share your thoughts below. What about Dr. Wright had Saffron so scared? Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll tell you many more interesting things in upcoming videos.
Okay, so we're gonna end this one here.
Until we meet again.
Ooh.
Until we meet again!
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna end this one here. We won't be doing Evolution's Child after this one. That one's really creepy. Anyway, because all the stopping we've done, this video's already gonna be really long anyway. It's already over an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guys, so that was interesting. Oh, let's see. I am not gonna call for a smash or pass on that one because she's a
No.
teenager.
It would
She's a
literally-
teenager.
It would literally. Well, I mean, even if you did, it would literally.
Well,
just be
well,
bone. It
you
would
just
be
want-
bones.
You asked her, "Are you interested in my bone?"
Are you? Hey, stop grabbing my pelvis.
Ah, boy. Leave the bone jokes to the elder.
I don't want to think about that. That's
What?
Oh, my pelvis.
What? What's the matter, Carter? You got a bone to pick with me?
Well,
Come on,
yeah,
that-
in a card game.
Come on, that one was a real rib tickler.
Please. Yeah, you don't want to break a leg.
Oh God.
No one.
Dave,
Man.
you want to take me on Yu-Gi-Oh? That takes a lot of spine.
Yep.
I guess you could say he's got a big backbone, huh?
I hear
God.
another goddamn pun.
You know, Atlas. As soon as you kill me, you'll finally be free to follow your heart.
But
God. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys are enjoyed movie night. This was just weird. Like this video, subscribe. We'll be doing the rest of this video for subsequent movie nights later, unless something more interesting pops up, in which case we'll do that instead. And I'm still going to ask you guys on some of these SCPs, smash or pass.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Of course, click on the link to the original down description. Get down to Detective Void's channel, like the original, and sub to him over there. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.
Bye.
Tail away, mate, again.